Good morning, dear students. Welcome back to your another session of your online classes. Children, we were studying about lesson number 5 and today is the second part of the lesson. Before this, children, I had taught you about friction and the different type of friction. Children, the last topic that I took in part 1 was the rolling friction. So children, rolling friction, we are continuing. Children, the concept of rolling friction came into existence only when the wheels were invented. Now children, wheels, they proved to be very revolutionary during the process of human development of human civilization. In olden days, or you can say when humans were at their early stage, when we call them as early stage. Children, all this you have studied in your essays in your sixth standard. Now, children, when humans moved towards civilization, they started doing agriculture. They started cultivating some of the animals for their benefit, and they also started doing a small amount of trade. And and to do the trade work, they had to move from one place to another. And and during all those things, all those events, the invention of wheel proved to be very beneficial and it helped them to increase their efficiency and help them to travel more quickly. Wheels brought mobility to their lives and the invention of wheel had a profound effect on human economy and society. We were able, the early men were able to move to different society, they were able to reach to different people and thus the process of civilization increased very fast after the invention of wheel. Now, children, friction. Friction. I told you that friction is a force which always opposes the motion. So, is it necessary? Is it un, is it necessary or it's not necessary? So, today's topic is about this only. Friction, unnecessary evil. Okay. Frictional force always act in the opposite direction of motion. That is, it always causes a loss of huge amount of energy. Now, children, being it's also an example of contact force. So, what happens? It results in the wear and tear of various objects, including your shoes, soles, machinery parts, your cycle tire. Many times you must have heard that ceiling fan. Sometimes it starts making noise, tick tick. Okay. It also results in the loss of energy in the form of heat and frictional forces. Thus, we find that frictional force causes lot of losses in general. Hence, it is considered as evil. But children, there are certain tasks which cannot be carried out without the presence of friction. Hence, in certain cases it is necessary and in certain cases it is not necessary. So, in short, we can say that yes, friction is a necessary evil. Now, we find children let us discuss about some of the examples where friction is necessary. If friction is not there, then it can result in something else. So, walking. If you are walking, so children, when we walk, what happens? The ground provides a frictional force and we are able to move properly. Suppose at certain places, if there is some water or suppose you have gone to some hilly area and it's all ice there and if you try to walk on that area in such a land which is covered with little bit amount of water or ice, what happens? Frictional decreases. So thus there are chances that you are going to slip down. Now writing. If there is no proper frictional force provided by the paper, then we will not be able to write properly. See, can you write very nicely, children, on a plastic sheet? Can you write very nicely on a piece of glass? No. Skating. Now, skating, I am talking about the children, ice skating. Now, when we do ice skating, we need to wear a different type of shoes first of all. And children, what happens when we start gliding over the ice? What happens due to friction? Heat is produced. and due to this rubbing, heat is generated, and this heat generated helps some amount of ice to get melted, and that melted ice or the water act as a lubricant and help to reduce the friction. Okay, lighting of a matchstick. Though most of you may not be using children matchstick, you all are using lighter, but sometimes, especially when we lighten the this incense stick, agarbatti, या अगर हम कभी कभी दिया जलाते हैं, that time we have to use a matchstick. So what happened when we rub the head of the matchstick with a rough surface? What happened? Heat is generated due to friction, and that red color of phosphorus is converted into white phosphorus. Now, children, this white phosphorus is highly inflammable, and thus the matchstick ignites. You remember why phosphorus is stored in water? This I taught you in lesson number 3, children. But sometime what happen if you have not kept matchbox properly and you have just left it in the open place? So sometime that matchstick absorbs the water vapor which is present in the air, and it does not ignite, and the presence of water also reduces the friction. Driving of a vehicle on a surface. Now children, when we are in a four-wheeler or a two-wheeler and we start the engine, so what happens? The engine generates the force which helps in the movement of wheel in the forward direction, but the road provides the frictional force, and and thus we are able to move. If the frictional force is not provided by the road, will not be able to move, but we will move very fast and we may meet an accident. Application of brakes in the vehicle to stop it. So children, if for some reason we need to stop our vehicle, we need to apply the brakes, and this also happens due to friction. And if our brakes are not in proper condition, they will not be able to apply proper brakes, and something else may happen. Now children, flight of an aeroplane. Now, drag. Drag is a word, children, that we use for fluid friction, that I will tell you in my next class. Now, children, when you know aeroplanes, they move in the atmosphere, and this air also provides a fluid friction, and due to this fluid friction, the aeroplane is able to move properly. If the friction was not there, then definitely it would have affected the aeroplane. Drilling a nail into the wall. Here also children, friction is responsible for fixing of nail in a wall. Dusting of a carpet by beating it with a stick, and all this I'm sure you are able to understand, children. Sliding on a garden slide. Now you all enjoy this, like playing in the garden. All children enjoy playing in the garden. Now children, when you are sliding on a garden slide, what happens? You sit and you start sliding, and if the surface of the garden slide is not smooth, then what will happen? It will provide lot of friction, due to which heat will be produced, and your clothes, they may get damaged if you are sliding on such a slide. But normally we find that slides, they have got very smooth surface, and due to which the friction reduces and the velocity of the person goes very high, and the child enjoys sitting in a slide. Now, friction, an evil or a nuisance. Now, children, friction is an evil. So, in all these cases, we understood that friction is necessary. But now I am telling, is it an evil? It is an evil because it causes wear and tear of machinery due to friction. A large amount of power is wasted in overcoming the force of friction, and efficiency of the machine decreases. Excessive friction between the rotating part of the machine produces heat, and it may cause damage to the machinery. As the friction has got both advantage as well as the disadvantage, we say that friction is a necessary evil. Now let us understand in which case friction is an evil. If you fall down and slide over a sloping asphalt road, and you fall down. So here friction it can be harmful. It can cause abrasions on your skin. If you are writing on a poorly finished wall, children, or if you are trying to write on a plastic sheet or on a glass, then here friction becomes evil. Because here the friction will be either too much or too low, you'll not be able to write. Okay? When a spacecraft tries to enter the Earth's atmosphere again, due to the excessive friction provided by the air, there are chances that our spacecraft may catch fire. So heat shields are must. Now children, when you are trying to unravel the knots of the wires of your earphone, friction is such an annoying thing, and if you try to put lot of force, then your earphone are going to get damaged. When you drag your nails on a blackboard, the sound caused by the friction can be really irritating. Now, suppose your mother is making dosa and that pan is also a non-stick, and by mistake she forgets to put oil also. So what happens? We are at the end just fighting with the pan and trying to remove the burning parts of the dosa because too much friction was there. Okay, it is an evil when you are trying to dance like a Michael Jackson, and to have those effect of Michael Jackson, what you do, you apply some amount of powder on the wooden floor, and due to less friction, definitely you are going to fall down. Now if you know children, car keyholes are very sensitive. If somebody tries to do some mischief by putting his or her key, then definitely when you will start your car, it will be some troubling for you. Now, when you are learning to play guitar, and sliding hand is a very difficult thing because of friction, and you may get cut on your finger. So children, this was all about. Today I took a very small concept that friction is a necessary evil. Okay, and children, it was all about uh, your knowledge. If you wish to write these points, you can write. If you do not wish to write, do not write. Mm, so it was all about today's session. Thank you and have a nice day, children. Take care of yourself.